Alms for Jihad, Charity and Terrorism in the Islamic World was written by two Americans, J. Millard Burr of the U.S. State Department and Robert O. Collins, Emeritus Professor of History at the University of California, Santa Barbara. Cambridge University Press published the book in Britain in 2006. It describes the many charities, front groups, banks, and the terrorist organizations they funded during the ongoing Islamic Jihad, starting with the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in 1979. A year after the book's publication, Khalid bin Mahfouz, a billionaire Saudi banker, threatened a libel lawsuit against the publisher in a British court. Cambridge capitulated in 10 days, issuing an apology to bin Mahfouz and donating the cost of his legal fees and substantial damages to UNICEF as he had requested. Their letter stated that, quote, the author's allegations were originally published in good faith, but we now recognize that the information on which they were based was wrong, unquote. It also stated that, quote, Cambridge University Press accepts that the entire bin Mahfouz family condemns terrorism in all its manifestations, and at no time has any member of the family contributed to any terrorist organization, including the Muwafaq Foundation, unquote. This is indeed an odd reaction. The publisher wrote this only 10 days after receiving the notice of a possible libel suit. In Britain, the burden of proof lies on the defendant, and Cambridge must have figured it would have been a losing battle. The publisher also pulped all unsold copies of the book, withdrew it from its distributors, and asked librarians throughout the world to take the book off its shelves. The Cambridge University Press also has a location in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Why did Cambridge capitulate so quickly? With its own academics checking and reading through each book before publication, how can Cambridge say that we now know the information in the book is unreliable? Would that not put the publisher's integrity into question concerning all the books it had published? Or did Cambridge University Press simply throw its editors under the bus? And why was bin Mahfouz threatening litigation, but others accused of much more in the book did nothing? Why did bin Mahfouz choose litigation to silence these and other writers, all the while keeping silent about what his actual relationship to these terrorist organizations and banks might be? Bin Mahfouz is mentioned in the book 13 times, in connection with Saudi banking and money laundering, funneling money to terrorists, embezzlement, and the Muwafaq or Blessed Relief Foundation, which he registered in 1991 in the small British territory of Jersey and established in Khartoum, Sudan in 1992. This charity was instrumental in transporting weapons and ammunition, laundering money, and promoting Islam in Ethiopia, Croatia, Albania, Austria, Germany, the U.S., Holland, and Belgium. Bin Mahfouz was no stranger to litigation. In the July 1995 issue of Africa Confidential, an article claimed that a Muwafaq Foundation employee was involved in the failed attempt to assassinate Hosni Mubarak in Addis Ababa on June 26, 1995, as he visited Ethiopia. The Ethiopian government ordered all Sudanese charities out of the country. A British firm representing bin Mahfouz and 5 other Saudi bankers sued the publisher in a libel case, claiming that the article defamed them because they were the trustees of the Muwafaq Foundation. Although the case went through British courts for 6 years, a judge finally found for the plaintiffs and awarded them legal costs and damages. Africa Confidential gave a public apology. More recently, bin Mahfouz brought suit against American author Rachel Ehrenfeld for writing Funding Evil, a book exposing the network of charities worldwide that funded terrorist groups including Al-Qaeda, Hamas, and Hezbollah. Although published in the U.S., bin Mahfouz filed suit in a British court, claiming that since he had a flat in London and copies of the book were sold online in England, the British courts had legal jurisdiction. The act of shopping around in different countries for a court that would give a favorable ruling now has a name: libel tourism. Dr. Ehrenfeld refused to acknowledge the jurisdiction of the British court, and the court awarded a default judgment against her. Dr. Ehrenfeld countersued in a New York court to block the judgment in the British court. When the New York courts claimed to have no jurisdiction over bin Mahfouz, the New York State Legislature unanimously passed the Libel Terrorism Protection Act, or Rachel's Law, in 2008. The law, quote, offers New Yorkers greater protection against libel judgments in countries whose laws are inconsistent with the freedom of speech granted by the United States Constitution. Khalid bin Mahfouz died on August 16, 2009. This series of videos will summarize the book Alms for Jihad, Charity and Terrorism in the Islamic World. You'll find a link to access a PDF copy of the book, plus other links that may be useful. These videos are done to promote free speech and convey the truth, even when some have tried to suppress it. Western civilization is itself at stake, Its core values of free speech and rule of law are under attack. Every time the West fails to see off these attacks on free speech, such as in the case of Alms for Jihad, there will be books left unpublished, articles unwritten, films not created because of the snowball effect of these unanswered attacks. These videos are also done in memory of the late Robert O. Collins, one of the book's authors, who died in April 2008.